Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Uh-huh. Want some candy?
What's up, you shit kickers? Welcome back to another episode of Monster Candy Podcast with us, Oobliette Sparks from Tsunami Bomb, and myself, Screamin E from the Memphis Murdermen. And tonight, we are going to talk about Kathryn Bigelow's 1987 vampire western, Near Dark. But before we get into that, it's time for horror news.
Horror news.
Or what
We're both super excited about it.
Yeah, or what there is of it.
We're living in a time where a movie about a doll robot is taking the theaters by storm.
Yeah. Megan.
Yeah, I think it's at like 120 million.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it.
Me either.
Like,
wow.
yeah. And people are like, I mean, some people have said like, meh, it's whatever. And then some people are like, no, you should definitely check it out. It's bad, but like good bad. And I'm like, I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, I don't think I believe that.
But that's not our horror news. At least it's not mine.
It's not mine either. I mean, it's just it's like a good preface on the bummerness of horror news right now and horror in general.
Nothing's changed from last episode, really. It's still...
We're in a slump, guys.
We're still getting going.
Send us something.
I don't know.
I'm
Should we do
my hot tea in a slump, a horror slump?
Should we like Rochambeau to see who goes first, or both say horror news at the same time? And we'll, if we're different, then we'll pick who goes.
Oh, you want to do like a 1, 2? Why don't we just do 1, 2, 3 and say it at the same time?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
I'm sure it's the same news.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Friday the 13th.
Sean, yep, Cunningham is directing a reboot of Friday the 13th.
yes, we'll discuss that. Take it away, Oobs.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, there's a series coming out called Crystal Lake, which is a prequel on Peacock, which I was kind of excited about. And I heard about that a few weeks ago, maybe 2 months ago. And then today, scouring the interwebs for more horror news, I read that the original director of Friday the 13th is writing a reboot.
Yeah, and a reboot for House.
Oh, really?
And The Night Driver, yeah. But Friday the 13th and House are the only ones I really care about.
House was funny.
I mean, do you really need to reboot House?
You don't have anything else to talk about, I guess so.
yeah. At least for now. I mean, I don't know if that's going to work. Because part of the charm of...
it's dated.
Yeah, that's like...
They can do what they did then.
Yeah. And that's how I feel about that. But I'll still watch it.
I mean, yeah, I'll definitely check it out. I'm apprehensive, as always, with all remakes, especially remakes nowadays.
Yeah, especially of a movie like that you did, that you already directed. And you're like, I'm going to give it a reboot. Like, but why?
Yeah, why compete against yourself, especially when you have something that's like so loved? It's just opening the door for like unnecessary criticism. Because even if it's great, there's diehards that are just going to come after him for this.
Yeah, like us, probably. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'll be nice about it.
Maybe.
Depends on how bad it is.
Yeah, it just seems weird. It's like he's competing with Victor Miller. Like, just do a new one. Like, you could do another sequel of whatever from like a direct sequel from whatever sequel you want to. Like, oh, this is going to be direct sequel from 2 or whatever. Would make more sense to me than, yeah, I'm going to remake my own movie. Unless he does it super like Sam Raimi style, Evil Dead 2, make it completely stupid and ridiculous.
I mean, that could be cool,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think that's what's going to happen either. But we'll see. Have you found any other horror news as you're searching?
So I have a couple of people I know that are at Sundance, so I've been watching some of their updates, and I watched the intro and then the kind of after question and answer on Infinity Pool. I turned off the outro pretty quick after it because I didn't really want to hear more.
Right.
I feel like Cronenberg Kid is like just as weird as Cronenberg Senior. And I have like a real uh hate kind of love hate thing with Cronenberg.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird. It's not really like hate. It's I don't know. It's just a little sheesh.
Yeah.
And
I
I
could
like
see that.
sheesh, but uh especially that last one the dad did. But see, I didn't see so Possessor was the one that got everybody psyched on the son. And I remember everybody freaking out about it. And I started it and I think I turned it off like 15 minutes in because I was just really like bored
Yeah.
and
I
didn't
didn't
give it a chance.
I didn't see it. So I can't really say whether it was good or bad, but I'll trust your judgment. And it sounds about
I
right.
mean, it might have been. It was just I wasn't in the mood for something that started that like that, and it just didn't grab my interest. But I mean, I remember like everywhere I was online, people were like flipping out. But
Right.
Infinity Pool intrigues me a little bit more because it has Mia Goth who just did the X and Pearl, and I thought she did good in those. And then also it has my pretend husband Alexander Skarsgård in it,
The
and
Skarsgård.
apparently like an unlimited amount of clones of him. So
It's like your
why wouldn't I want to
it's
go
like
see
your
it?
utopia.
Right? That's what I'm thinking. But all I mean, I'm not surprised because everything Daddy or Little does is super fucking weird, but just from a couple small blurbs and spoiler things I heard from people seeing it, it's gonna be like real fucking weird.
Hmm.
The previews kind of reminded me of that Nicole Kidman, Tom Cruise,
Eyes wide shut.
Sex Club one, yeah,
Yeah.
mixed with like the White Lotus or like I don't know,
Right.
some vacation movie. Um,
The little
so I'm
I
interested.
was gonna say the little Epstein's Island Easter egg that
Oh yeah,
is in movies that they're like, this shit doesn't happen. And they make movies about that stuff constantly.
I mean, I told you when we were out snorkeling, they took us by the island, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was off the coast of St. Thomas until like we got on the boat to snorkel, and they're like, "So we're gonna take you to the island that most people aren't real happy about is that's right by us." And I'm like, "What
How I said
island?" And I
how most people aren't real happy. We're like, who the fuck's happy about this?
I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
yeah.
There's some people, I
And then
guess. Wink, wink.
and like I turn around and look and I can see like where the pyramid is with the lid
Mhm.
off of it or the roof off of it. And I was like, holy shit, my birthday just got way cooler. Anyways, yeah, it looks like it looks fucking weird. And I am trying to make myself not excited to see it because I am sure it's going to be painful. Just like Crimes of the Future, whatever the fuck his dad's movie was that I watched recently.
Right.
But I just hold out hope, you know.
Well,
Probably
we'll
not a
see.
good idea.
Yeah, I'm like indifferent about Cronenberg. I'm like, there's some stuff that's cool, but I'm not like a Cronenbergian.
Yeah.
Like it's not something that gets me all pumped. Like none of his movies really do, but They're weird. I mean, that's for sure. There's definitely some weird shit to them. So I guess if that's the kind of thing you're into.
Yeah.
This is kind of horror news. I mean, we don't have any weird paintings hanging up in our houses and or apartments like some
I
people do.
mean, I think we do. Just
Yeah.
different kinds.
Yeah. Nefarious or not, I don't know. I'm not passing judgment on Miss Curtis, but still fucking weird.
But it's a white trash bathtub. Like kids bathe out there. I don't know. I looked through that photo series. I don't think that one's very weird.
I don't know. She'll get through it with like an Oscar or something. Will Smith did. So lizard people are weird. So whatever.
That's true.
It'll all be fine. Right? Right, everybody? It'll all be fine?
I don't know. I've heard that it won't be.
Probably not. I don't know. That's all I got for horror news.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to. Oh yeah, and that Skidamarink is either the worst, most boring movie ever or the most terrifying movie anyone's ever seen.
One of the
And
two.
nothing in between
Yeah.
at all. Because
No.
everyone's vastly on one side or the other.
Yeah.
No one's just been like, it was all right.
Yeah, I don't think I want to find out.
I almost went to go see it in the theater and then I read like a few reviews and was like, nope.
Yeah.
I'll wait.
All right. We're done. That's been horror news, you little jerks. All right.
Yeah, you little jerks.
Yeah. Yeah, jerkies. 1987. 87 was a good year. I like that year. Kathryn Bigelow seems pretty rad from the handful of interviews I've watched of her.
She was married to James Cameron, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Well, because that's how I think they got the aliens people.
Yes, we
He was
discussed
like,
that.
hey, baby,
Yeah.
you should date me and then hire all the people I just hired to
Yeah.
be vampires and you're
Yeah,
and cowboys.
and she's done, The Hurt Locker, a bunch of other movies. Oh, she did Point
I
Break
would not
too.
have guessed that.
Yeah, she did Point
Interesting.
Break, which is why, little fun fact, everybody, the one guy from Point Break, one of the bank robbers, is one of the he's the patron in the bar that actually gets away. So there's actually a few people in this movie that are from other movies, and another one of them is
Wait, the one that gets away? Oh yeah, that comes
Mhm.
back with the cops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the guy that towards the end of Point Break, Roach, I think Roach was his name. He's the one that got shot, and he was like, "I'm gonna throw you out of the plane with the money, and we'll see you down there." But he ends up
Yeah.
dying. Yeah. So that was him, and then the
Interesting.
other guy that actually gets it in the bar, like the biker dude that they first come in contact with, or not biker guy, he looks more like a trucker dude. He was a biker in Terminator 2 in a bar. He's the one that puts the fucking cigar out on Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Uh-huh.
So yeah,
He's got a type.
he definitely does. So there's that. Oh, let's get into it. What you think about this? This is your first time seeing it.
Yeah, it was.
All right. And what'd you think of it?
I think that if I would have saw it as an adolescent, it would hold a special place in my heart. But alas, I saw it at 40 years old.
It's see, I don't know. I'm a fan of it. I like it. One of the reasons I like it is because
Don't say Bill Paxton. Don't.
no, but he does.
Don't fucking do it.
There is.
Don't do it.
I like all the characters in them. I think the characters are written real well, and I like his character, but I like how there's the one part where he picks up where he's like hitchhiking and he picks up these two chicks. There are two chicks stop for him, and he's totally like the car salesman guy in True Lies. He was like, "Hey, ladies," and he get his like smarmy fucking Bill Paxton wise ass character comes out. Which,
Mm-hmm.
like, there's not a lot of comedy in this movie, but that's one part. And you're like, most of it's serious, and then there's the Bill Paxton we all fucking know and love that just pops out. And you're like, good old Bill.
Well, so there's an actor in this movie who I actually didn't know was the brother of Jason Patrick.
Oh, he's the Homer,
Little
right?
kid.
Yeah. He
So
used to
Joshua
creep me
John
out.
Miller.
Yeah.
Same. So I vividly like remember him just weirding me out as a kid and everything he's in. And
Mm-hmm.
so last night I was looking back at everything he was in, and it was only the two movies I could think of before I looked it up that I had seen him in, but yet I have this like memory of him always being like the little kid in a gang in like every movie, and it was all because of Class of 1999, which
Yeah.
I love, and he's in it. And then I'd also seen him in Meet the Hollowheads,
Mm-hmm.
which is a movie I think a lot of people have not seen that I wouldn't have seen except for it was in the 99-cent pile at Best Buy back when they used to random videos.
The good old days.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you young ones too, like you used to be able to go into Best Buy and they had like an awesome CD selection too. And if you wanted to find new bands, they had all kinds of comps in the like punk, black metal, any kind of subgenre ever.
Yeah.
And they'd always give you a weird look when you were buying them because they'd be like, "We don't even know why we have these." Like, I don't know why you have them either.
But I'm glad you do.
Yeah, and then you could buy a computer too.
And a washer and all kinds of shit
and
at Best Buy.
Washer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was back when like stores tried to be Amazon, and they were like, "We're just
Yeah.
gonna keep adding more shit that you can buy here, and then maybe you won't go anywhere else."
Yep. Have a little bit
So
of everything.
you can get baby diapers, printer paper, a
Yeah.
Tamagotchi, and a filing cabinet.
Like Office Depot and Office Max are still kind of like that. You're like, why do you have baby
I mean,
wipes
a little
here?
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit, but it's still like random shit where you're like, why the fuck would I need this right now? I'm here for ink.
And they have to get in all kinds of other games too. Like they do FedEx now,
Mhm.
passport photos. They got their whole print center. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll make you photo albums. It's like
Deliver
whatever
your
they can do to
baby.
keep the doors open.
All kinds of weird shit. Oh, let's for anyone who hasn't seen this, because I mean people have seen it, but there's still some people that haven't.
Oh yeah, the movie.
Yeah. So I'll give you the storyline. A Midwestern farm boy reluctantly becomes a member of the undead when a girl he meets turns out to be a part of a band of southern vampires who roam the highways in stolen cars. Part of his initiation includes a bloody assault on a hick bar. I mean, accurate, I guess. An interesting storyline. Anyway, so yeah. Oh, yeah, back to the reason I like it is because it's
The kid.
yeah,
Creepy kid.
not the creepy
Sorry,
kid,
go on.
but he always creeped me out. And this is the first thing I saw him in, and then I would see him pop up in like sitcoms every once in a while. I'm like, oh, the kid fucking creeps me out. Anyway, but it's a vampire Western. Like it's in the sense of vampire movies, like it's different because they're usually, I don't know, like this and Lost Boys. The Lost Boys is also kind of different, but most of them, they're like your typical vampire or like weird demon guy.
I don't
roughly
know. I feel like there's vampire movies are kind of all over the place just because it's such like
I mean, they can
a
be.
mystique sort of creature.
Yeah.
Since it's like a human creature, so people like sexualize it. And
Yeah, I mean, it can be, but I
see-
mean,
you see that in a lot of the movies, more
Yeah.
so than like, a mummy.
Nowadays, yeah. But like 1987, I was like, whoa, this is different than what I'm used to seeing as far as vampire movies.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if I would have seen it as a kid or even a teenager, I think I would have liked it a lot more.
yeah.
To me, like so much of it has been done probably after that, a bunch of times. And I love the cheesy 80s stuff, but Bill Paxton just gets under my fucking skin.
Oh,
And it was funny because this movie actually
game
reminded
over,
me a little
man.
bit.
Game over.
Ugh. It reminded me a little bit of like a sibling to that Hardware movie we watched.
Well, yeah. Another thing that I enjoyed about it is like, dude, it just made me want to take a shower. Like it was just
Oh, the black
grimy.
stuff all over him.
Just everything. Just everyone's just dirty and dusty and like,
Yeah.
like not so much when I was little, because when you're little, you're just a fucking dirtball anyway. But like as an adult, I'm like, he's fucking just sweaty and slobbering over himself all the time. They're all sweaty and gross and dirty all the time, except for when Bill Paxton gets a shower and he picks up those chicks and he's all like cleaned up. But everyone else is just like a dirtball. Well, except for May, his love interest, the chick who turns him, Jenny
Yeah,
Wright.
one time she has like a smear right here and then a blood drop. And other than that, she's always like
Pristine.
perfect.
Like
And
just,
even after she feeds and she has shit all over her face and he's feeding off of her, she's like bloody and gross in one clip. And then the
Yeah.
next, she's like perfect makeup again.
yeah, she's an angel. What can you say? She was also in Young Guns too. She was
I know.
the madam. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
I had a
she
crush on
was.
her. But
She had that crazy curly hair.
yeah.
She's the one who rode the horse naked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was fun. It was 90 minutes, so that's always a bonus.
Yeah.
And I did like the characters. It's funny because, it's cheesy watching it now, but I think when it came out, it was not supposed to be
Right.
as cheesy as it is. And that makes it more amusing because there's so many holes in things that
Yeah.
are happening.
Yeah.
That you're like, if they were trying to make this serious, they really kind of were playing hopscotch through the
Yeah.
script.
Which I also wonder, like, what got cut out? Because there's definitely some things you're like, okay, well, that didn't make any sense. But also, one of the things I didn't like about it, first of all, I wasn't real psyched on Caleb, like the actual actor. I'm not a real big fan of his for some reason.
I saw Johnny Depp audition for that.
Yeah, Johnny Depp's too good looking. Like, I don't think because Caleb was kind of, he was like an eager beaver. He was like,
Well, he was, but she was also pretty.
yeah.
And
But
being super forward back then was a lot more acceptable.
totally. But like Johnny Depp doing that at that time, like he's too much of a baby face.
Oh yeah.
He
Well, no,
probably
he was super lame when he was in the car. And he's just like, "Do you have a boyfriend?"
Yeah.
I'm like, is he trying to get laid or is he really trying to date this girl he just
Yeah.
met at like 2 a.m. out front of a bar?
Yeah. But yeah, just the actor in general, I don't know.
Are you staying in town for a while? Do you have a boyfriend?
Yeah. Like, are you trying to date her, get some, or murder her? Because you're asking a lot of these weird fucking questions.
And if she's only staying in town for a few weeks, do you want her to be your girlfriend for a few weeks? 'Cause that seems kind of counterproductive.
Maybe. I mean, she was quite
Or the
angelic.
perfect amount of time, depending on
Yeah.
who you are.
So she had it all that to control over him already. Yeah, but he I don't know. He irks me a little bit just looking at him for some reason. And I'm not sure why they picked him up. Like after she turned him, like they could have just let him burn up and then just bounced and got the fuck out of there. But they decided to grab him, and it's not
And then
like
get
they
annoyed by it.
yeah, like they had to. I'm like, well, guys could have just like your nomad vampires. Like you could have just bounced and got out of there.
Well, it also didn't make sense because remember, like he was about to kill him with his spur,
Right.
and she was like, "Then you'd be killing me because I bit him, but he hasn't fed yet," which implied that if you killed like a half-made vampire, it would kill the person who started. But also, like, they act surprised, but they saw him burning, so they knew he had to be a vampire. So why would a
Right.
spur kill a vampire?
Right. Yeah, that whole
Like,
part.
it
I'm
didn't
like,
make any sense. I'm like, on what level are we at in life and death and murder? Because I don't get it.
yeah, that was definitely one of the things I did not like about this movie. That always
And then his
confused me.
dad just is like, I'm going to give you a blood transfusion and you're not going to be a
Well,
vampire anymore.
yes, that's the other one that I'm like, when you're
And
young,
then
you don't
you're
think
going
of
to
shit like
proceed to
that.
go run around in a field.
Yeah, like, when I'm fucking 8, I don't think about shit like that. I'm like, oh yeah, like it's a movie, like whatever.
Yeah.
But
Oh, same. When I'm a kid, I'd be like, oh yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, wait, is that a fucking farmer vet, whatever? And plus, he gave him a full blood transfusion just from blood from his body,
Right.
and he's
Right.
still alive.
Or
Like,
whatever.
what are we doing here?
And
Was it
there's
the right
another
blood
thing
type?
too. Everybody's big now on talking about consent and consent being important.
Yeah.
They just took that girl and gave her a blood transfusion and made her human. Like at no point did I get any inkling that she didn't want to live forever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe that was just implied so they could be
Like
together.
just because like they made out a few times, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna make her mortal so she can be my girlfriend."
I
No,
guess. Like, who
no,
knows?
I'm sorry. That's not how it works, boys. That's not
Well, she did
not
save
cool.
his sister at the end, spoiler alert, and risked her
Which
life.
also,
So,
who ends up at the same fucking hotel as their dad and sister, and their 10-year-old sister is outside at 4 in the morning or whatever
right.
it was, getting
I
soda?
mean, it's the 80s.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
think
I
that
mean,
they're
there's,
okay, yeah, she's out there, but there are plenty of motels in the 80s. They just happen to end up at the same one.
yeah. That's just the stroke of luck. It was divine intervention. Oops.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, okay. The other thing I didn't like, or so after the blood transfusion, they're just like, however many days go by. First of all, these fucking vampires are still out there. So do they think, oh, they're just going to forget about us and just move on? So we're just going to continue living our lives.
By the meal they were having, yeah, it seemed like they had forgotten all about it. They were like laughing and super happy.
Right. I'm like, all right, you just shot a guy, which one of the things I love about this movie is the dialogue. Some of the one-liners are amazing. First of all, Lance Hendrickson in this movie is fucking great. Let me see. Where's his oh yeah, okay, I mean, anyone who knows the movie, the finger looking good line from the bar, Bill Paxton, I mean, come on. And if for anyone who doesn't get, I don't even know if they still use that tagline, but it's from KFC. That was real big in the 80s. It's finger looking good.
But they still say it, don't they?
Do they? I don't know. I don't like, I honestly haven't seen a
You're like trying to
commercial.
be a human time capsule right now.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they still say it.
but I haven't seen an actual Kentucky Fried Chicken commercial in a long time.
Do you watch TV though? I thought you just stream
Yeah.
stuff.
No,
Oh.
I Sling and watch like actual streaming TV channels with commercials and stuff, but I don't. What, maybe a couple years ago, 3-4 years ago, they were like changing the kernel every season.
Every episode.
Yeah.
They were doing like a whole, like, every commercial was a different kernel.
Yeah. And then to find the new kernel or whatever. But ever since those, like, I don't ever remember seeing a KFC commercial. KFC is actually kind of good. I ain't gonna lie. I'll dig on their extra crispy.
Not into it. It smells like dead flesh to me.
I love it.
Their mashed potatoes and their coleslaw are good though.
Their mashed potatoes are good. Their hot chicken sandwich is actually surprisingly good. So is
I don't
Burger
mind their
King's.
sandwiches.
Yeah, I was
I'm
like,
just not a bone-in fried chicken person.
yeah. I mean, not particularly, but I'll eat it anyway. Lance Hendrickson, when Caleb's asking him, he's like, "So,
Stay
so
on
how
track.
old?"
Stay on track.
Yeah, he's like, "So how old are you?" He's like, "Let's just say I fought for the South." And he's like, "The
He
South?"
made that up.
Did he?
Did you hear about that? He made up the whole backstory.
Oh, that's a
He
good
would get
backstory.
bored on set and go driving in his car and came up like stay in character and came up with his like backstory about it.
I mean,
It's
that's
this
a good
whole like
backstory.
method acting thing. Yeah, he
Right.
wouldn't leave his character.
Those people are so weird. Like, you don't have to do that. You're a professional
I think
liar.
it's amazing. It's so funny. I just wish that I would run into people doing that because it would make my fucking day.
Yeah.
If you were method acting, come and hang out with me. I would have a lot of fun with it.
Dude,
A lot of fun.
That's
And I
Nicolas
would take
Cage.
you everywhere.
That's his whole life. He's just perpetually method acting. And no one understands it.
Yeah. And I would take him everywhere. Nicolas Cage.
Here's my
Come with
Nicolas
me.
Cage.
He thinks he's
lost.
Elvis.
Yeah, he does. Oh. And then
There was some horror news.
right,
with
yeah.
Marie and
Yep.
her sad
Rest in peace.
marital and dating history of
Yeah.
men who wanted to be her father.
I mean, I guess it makes sense in like a clinical way, but
That they wanted to marry her, sure.
yeah, well, she's like, okay, these super ridiculously like famous. I mean, one was the king of pop. He was probably the next thing to Elvis. You know, I don't know. There's probably a lot of weirdness going on there.
That's some lizard people shit.
Yeah, but like the Nicolas Cage thing, I never got because it's not.
I mean, it would
like,
annoy the shit out of me. Like,
yeah, because like when they got together, he wasn't like super crazy famous anymore. Like he would do like a movie like Con Air and then the fucking one with the maps and shit, whatever.
National Treasure.
Yeah, like random stuff like that here and there, but no one was really talking about him.
There's
So,
a series about National Treasure right now, and they bring Elvis into the mix, by the way.
oh, of course they do. Well, I mean, how can they not? And that's the thing. He was like just a super fan. Couldn't she see? I
Well,
don't
Nicolas
know.
Cage isn't in the series, but yeah, but
But-
Elvis is.
Yeah. Well, Elvis should be in everything.
But could you imagine them like out to dinner? I feel like it would
No.
just be Nicolas Cage being like, so what was your dad like?
Yeah. That's
Honey, so what would your dad eat this meal? This
Yeah.
meal I'm eating here. Did the king ever eat this?
that's exactly how I imagine their whole relationship.
You think your dad would like my outfit today?
It would drive me insane. Well, it's probably why it didn't last so long.
Oh, he'd hate it.
Did your dad like Superman? Want to see me in my Superman outfit? I was gonna be Superman. Did you know that?
I want to name my kid Kal-El, or should I name him Elvis? Elvis Kal-El.
So, hindsight, if I could time travel back to tell like 21-year-old Screamin E about his relationship with Nicolas Cage in the future, I would have told me to actually try and get to see him because before I moved out here, probably a year before, me and my buddy drove down to Graceland because it was Elvis week. But that was the year Lisa Marie and Nicolas Cage were there. But we were like, fuck this. Elvis Presley Boulevard was just millions of people there, fucking sobbing and just losing their shit. We're like, let's go home. So we basically drove down and back in like a day and a half. Anyway, I wish I had actually got to see Nicolas Cage and be like, dude, you don't know this, but I'm going to be on a podcast one day and we're going to have this whole thing about you and how weird you are.
And I too wish that when I actually met him, I could have said that to him.
Right? Oh, man. Time
I
machines.
should be like, this moment right now of you being a douchebag is going to start a whole new timeline for me having a podcast one day where we will devote episodes to you.
Yeah.
Only because we don't like you. Wait a minute. Do we like you?
I don't know. And then you have a whole fucking like moment, like introspective moment. You're like,
No, I
yeah,
feel like I should write him a letter for being rude to him as a teenager.
should
And now
get
I
him on
kind of
there.
wish I had that autograph.
Right? God damn it. Yeah, you live and you
I
learn,
still
I
got
guess.
Coppola's autograph
There,
that I
there you
also
go.
didn't that I also didn't want, but my mom was adamant.
Hey,
Actually, she has that thing. I don't have it.
the point is it exists, and that's
It
what
does on a
matters.
cocktail napkin.
Awesome.
That's the classy way to get an
Ex-
autograph
100%. Did he put
on
lipstick
his
on and then
own
kiss it?
cocktail napkin. Yeah, it was because it was the Coppola. They do a benefit every year at his
No.
vineyard
It's like,
for
does he
some.
carry his own cocktail napkins in his pocket with him all the time?
No, my mom was like eating, like fed me a skewer that was passed, and then when he came up and signed the napkin, the
That's pretty
appetizer
awesome.
was on. It
I mean, that's
probably still has sauce on it.
even well, I hope it wasn't a clean one. That would be still be
No, I
cool,
don't think.
but
Yeah, I don't think. No, I think it's soiled for sure.
yeah, that's the best.
But if anyone wants like a soiled autograph of Francis Ford Coppola, just let me know. I could contact my mom and see what
Yeah.
the going rate is right now.
Make things work, make things happen. Oh, so
New
another
York.
thing, yeah. Another thing I liked about this movie and a lot of her movies is like it didn't take too long to get into it. Like there was like 5-10 minutes and then it was kind of all right, the vampires are here and the whole thing gets started.
Did you notice that the song, I mean, first off, the soundtrack is like synthesizer fucking crazy. There's like,
Yeah.
I think there's one scene that has like a synthesizer slap bass that is just like makes you want to rip your
Uh-huh.
ear off your like fucking head.
Uh-huh.
But there's one little clip that plays anytime they're driving or anytime anything exciting is happening. And you can tell they didn't have a very big budget because it's the same clip every time. It's something like that. And it is almost identical to the intro of Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone, except for they
Oh,
change the rhythm
right.
just slightly. And so it kept bumming me out because I thought Top Gun was about to come on over and over again, over and over again, and then it didn't.
I was wondering because I'm like, this sounds
And I didn't like that.
as I was rewatching it today, I was I know exactly what you're talking about because I'm like, that sounds really familiar, but I couldn't put like
It's like
a
dun
song or
dun
anything
dun
to
dun
it.
dun 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 dun, but
Yeah,
it's like almost the
right.
it's like
That
so
probably
close to the
makes
guitar riff that's under that.
that would make sense then.
But and I kept wanting to hear Kenny Loggins start singing something because like so many of the songs sounded like a Kenny Loggins soundtrack song, but a lot like nothing, no Kenny Loggins. So it dropped a full point right there. The lack of Kenny Loggins and
I
trying to
mean,
tease me with Kenny Loggins sounding guitar riffs.
I mean, Kenny Loggins does make things pretty awesome, you know.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, I thought Kenny Loggins and Kenny Rogers were the same person. They just, some reason, he played different kinds of songs under the Loggins name than he did the Rogers name.
I mean,
And I don't know why I made that up in my head, but I really believe that.
at one point in time, I guess they could be like young Kenny Rogers and old Kenny Rogers because they both had beards and kind of shaggy hair at some points. So
Yeah, they did
yeah,
both have beards.
Kenny Rogers is one of those guys that just like always looked old though. Like I never remember him
His
being
chicken
young.
was good. Since we've been
Yeah,
talking about chicken, you remember the Kenny Rogers roasters?
yeah,
Those are
mess
around
you
the Bay
up.
Area.
Heck yeah,
Just some
chicken
good
mess you
chicken.
up.
It was good. We had one in Santa Rosa.
Yeah,
Threw down
yeah.
on that. That was our Thursday night dinner.
I mean, it wasn't
Mom didn't want to
bad.
cook.
It was good.
And this episode is brought to you by chicken. I don't know.
Because it's finger licking good.
Are we hungry?
Probably. Probably. So if
Maybe.
anyone who's followed this podcast might remember me on an episode of What Chaps Screamin E's Ass talking about people's weirdness and like obsession with projecting their own bullshit political views and social views onto stuff that has nothing to do with it. And I talked about Kathryn Bigelow and how like every fucking article that doesn't involve her talks about this movie and how it's a fucking commentary on the evils of capitalism, because that's the go-to. Everything is the evils of capitalism. And
This movie is?
yeah, that's what a lot of articles about it say.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
Right.
You were talking about this. It's
Yeah,
like, this
and
was that movie. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't, okay.
Yeah, and they just go on about, oh, and how, the fucking haves and the have-nots and everyone's poor in this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, everyone's not poor. But anyway,
Well, but why did the police officer let a drunk and non-human young man who didn't look like he had money, like give him extra money to get on the bus?
it's
Oh, to
capitalism.
get him out of his town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go, see.
Okay. There
But
we go.
but it's not. It's not. If any, and this is the thing that fucking bugs me. It's like they don't breathe.
Saying this movie
breathe.
had a deeper meaning about anything is just not correct.
Well, if anything, there was something that she brought up in one of her interviews, which I'm convinced people don't actually go and listen to interviews the actual director or writer gives about these movies, and they just make their own shit up and project whatever they want onto it. But she brings up a point, actually the guy interviewing her brings up a point about it being about keeping the nuclear family together. And if you step back and look at it, you're like, yeah, like as far as the group of vampires, like that's their family. And once they let some like outsider come in, it destroys it and everything goes to shit. Like everything was fucking fine until, I'm not saying, oh, outsiders, don't let anybody in. But when you let someone kind of start pulling away at the family, like stuff like that happens. And if there was anything, any sort of sub message, it was, yeah, you want to, keep your family together because it's better when there is a family for everything. But that aside, dude, it was just a fucking like Western kind of vampire movie. Like these fucking.
I mean, the Western thing gets to me a little bit. I mean, Western-ish, but it's not
Yeah.
like a Western.
Well, nomads, gunslinging,
Western
fucking
tendencies.
cowboys. But yeah, like there's not a whole lot to this movie. It is what it is. And it's
Yeah.
definitely 80s. The slow motion. Always got to be some good slow motion in the 80s. Oh, and
For sure.
all right, when the cops get him at the bungalow and they're like,
Mhm.
we got this place surrounded. And then they start shooting into it. You're going to shoot the cops that are in the back of the bungalow. You're shooting through,
Uh-huh.
I thought it was like, wait a minute. And then he drives the van through it. I mean, it's exciting. It's like 80s fucking action sequence, which
No,
I mean,
didn't mind that. It was funny.
yeah, it fits the movie, but I'm like, yeah, this is the 80s coming right here. Like where action movies were really fucking jumping. So
I just can't believe like how creepy that kid was after he like got a hold of the sister.
yeah.
It was not okay.
Well,
But
yeah, the thing about that, so he's, he brings it up in the movies, like, you understand how hard it is being a fucking big man in a small man's body, and Bill Paxton's like, you understand how hard it is to hear that every night, which is funny.
that part, I will give it to Bill Paxton. That part made me laugh.
Yeah. But it's like, so he turns the character May, because he's he's fucking however many years old, 50, 100, whatever. But he turned like a woman into his companion. Like that's what he was aiming for. And then it gets weird where he's like, hey, little girl, I'm going to choose you as my companion, which would still be weird. Like, yeah, that part was a little, but it's the 80s. What are you going to do?
I mean,
let's get weird. Let's get weird.
yeah.
Yeah. I did notice that as an adult watching it. I'm like it made sense if he knew it was his sister, Caleb's sister. Like when the whole family comes in and he's like, you turned my chick, so now I'm gonna like revenge, turn your sister. Like I would get that, but when they're watching the TV, first of all, she's like, yeah, I'll go hang out in your room at 4 a.m.
Yeah,
Even in the
that was
80s,
the thing too.
I don't
And they're
know,
all
like,
it's just smoky. They're all filthy.
yeah, I'm like, even in the 80s, parents wouldn't be like, go ahead and just hang out around the fucking motel at 4 a.m. Go hang out in other people's rooms. But it was weird. You're right.
Because that kid, he's just creepy.
Yeah.
Like he looks like an old man.
Yes. That's exactly one of the things why it creeps me out, because he always looked like a grown little man.
No, I know. That's why everything we've seen him in, he plays those kinds of parts. He
Yeah.
was in Season of the Witch too.
Mm-hmm. Like he just always creeped me out. I'd see him in something, I'm like, ugh, fucking weird. You creep me out and I don't want to look at you. Yeah. It's the truth.
I'm sure he loves hearing that too.
Right? Well,
From
he's probably,
fans.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's ever heard it in person, like to his face, but there's probably a lot of stuff on the internet. I'd assume, because we can't be the only ones that felt like that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure plenty of people do. I'm
Yeah.
sure he loves reading that shit.
Ugh. Creepy kids. I mean, I guess in horror movies, they probably suit the purpose. 'Cause they're creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Near Dark.
Near Dark. So I did look it up. The crazy music, I said it was all like electric, was Tangerine Dream,
Hmm.
which they've done a lot of that stuff. But that's funny. I wonder if it was one of their
Didn't they do some stuff in
first things.
Vamp too?
It was something we did. They were in it because I remember us
Right.
talking about them.
Yeah, I think it was.
Let me see. Tangerine Dream filmography.
Ooh.
Vampira,
Okay.
Vampira, Sorcerer with Roy Schneider.
It's no
All right.
Jaws.
German stuff, German stuff. Strange Behavior, a horror film from the 80s. Thief, Solomon's Nightmare, The Soldier, The Keep, Risky Business, Spasms, Wavelength. Oh, they did the original Firestarter.
Okay.
Let's see what other horror stuff. Oh, they did Legend,
Okay. Makes sense.
Vision Quest,
Right.
all kinds. Like, wow, that's what they did. They did soundtracks, lots and lots of soundtracks.
Good for them.
But I know we've talked.
Yeah, we definitely mentioned something about him before.
Maybe they're mentioned in one of the movies because I just went through
Maybe.
their whole filmography and there's a lot, but not one that we did.
Hmm.
Mandy seems like a movie that would mention them.
Yeah. Oh. All right.
Oh God.
Let's rate this movie.
I don't want to think about that before bed.
What, Nicolas Cage and his tidy whities? Too late.
No, he's the least of my worries in that movie, honestly. It's like that movie was such a pile of shit that even forget about Nicolas Cage and his breakdown in the fucking bathroom.
Yeah.
Like I just think of the fucking gross cult leader and that song playing, and I didn't need to see that. And then everybody else somehow upstaged Nick Cave's craziness in that movie, and I can't explain it.
Well, some
And now I
things,
feel sick.
yeah, some things you just can't explain are unexplainable, and that might be one of them. Okay,
Yeah.
rating it. We're rating it. Let's you go first because I know your score is going to be low.
No, you go first because I think you're going to put yours up higher if I go low.
No, I mean I like I like the movie. I'm a fan, so it's going to be a legit score. All right,
Okay.
I'll go.
What is it?
I'm giving it a 3.
Thanks.
I'm giving it a 3.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's a solid movie. I enjoy watching it. Yes, it definitely has some issues where you're like, but why? And it's got a little bit of
There's no
action in it.
climax. No, there's no climax. That whole movie is like,
What are you
it's like
talking
a
about?
flat line.
What are you talking about? The end, he hits fucking Bill Paxton with a truck, and then they burn up in a car. Lance Hendrickson and what's her
While
name?
driving not that fast and smiling,
Well, they knew it was the end.
wearing like felt blankets.
Yes. Well, because they wanted to keep the sun off them.
How
But
exciting.
yeah, Jeanette Goldstein, who was in Terminator 2 and Aliens and all that. I like her as an actor. Um,
Yeah, she's good.
yeah. So yeah, I'm giving it a 3. I think people will enjoy it. It's a departure. Well, maybe not now, but in the 80s, a departure from many vampire movies. I think people should see it, especially if you're a fan of the 80s. I think it's got a little bit of everything in it for everybody. There were no fangs in there though, which I was a little disappointed in. Lance
We're mention
Hendrickson,
of vampires.
yeah, Lance Hendrickson did have some nails on him, some cute acrylic
Yeah.
nails, but that was like the only vampiric thing. That and the side,
And he
side,
had tar in his hair.
yeah, and they burned up in the sun and everything. But yeah, so a 3 for Near Dark. Go.
Yeah, I mean there were some good jokes. Uh, there was action, but I feel like the action was pretty subdued. Um, but yeah, it definitely fills that 80s itch. And again, I think if I would have saw it and had memories of it as a younger person, I would think more fondly on it. I didn't hate it. I think it's an okay 80s movie. I don't know that I would ever watch it again. Um, in fact, I'm pretty sure if I was really sick laying on the couch and it came on TV and I could barely move, I would find a way to crawl with my hands over to grab the remote and change.
Well, you
Or
wouldn't want to
just
see
take a
what's
nap.
his name,
Or just
the
take a
creepy
nap,
kid.
whatever.
Yeah.
No, I like him more than Bill Paxton. Uh, but yeah, it had some good actors in it. I think the acting was good. I think it's
Mhm.
just like a made for TV kind of movie.
I could see that.
It
I could,
totally has that feel, like the grandpa, and the like, just kind of some of the dialogue. It's so like soft core.
yeah,
I think that's the part too. Like I love the 80s stuff, but a lot of the 80s stuff would when it had that kind of screenplay would have like some like serious gore, or just like,
yeah,
if not go the gore way, go some other way they would have like lots of titties
yeah,
maybe,
yeah. No
or
boobs,
something.
no, not a ton of gore.
Yeah, like there's like some heavy petting, like making out, but like there's
I mean,
like this is a very like PG movie.
the bar scene was pretty gory.
Yeah,
There
but
was,
I don't think it would be any higher than like PG-13, do you?
I don't know. Nowadays, I don't know. Probably, maybe, because there was like some sexualizing in there, and then he slit a girl's throat, and then the bartender guy, when Bill Paxton fucking slices his throat with his spurs, they'd probably get an R, because that scene was pretty bloody.
Yeah, maybe.
But I mean,
But
I was gonna say that scene was probably like the most serious as far as like it was scary. Like if it was like a legit thing happening, like these fucking people come into a bar, lock it, and are just acting all fucking like they own the goddamn place and fucking shit up, and then they start like,
I did like that scene.
yeah, like I thought that was an act that was like a legit terrifying in quotes like scene. Like if you're that fucking bartender, the waitress chick, you'd be scared shitless.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
No, I think it was good. I mean, I did like the family and how they interacted with each other, despite some of the weird plot holes with
Despite the
vampire
creepy kid and
holes.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, and the creepy kid always had a bike.
Well, yeah,
Which was funny because I didn't know the bike would be a part of it later. And in the first scene, when they still have that giant RV, there's 2 bikes on the back.
yeah.
Before you see who's in there, they just grabbed him. And I turned to my husband and said, they can't be that bad. They have 2 bicycles. And I stand by that. They weren't
Yeah.
too bad.
Yeah.
They were like pretty nice vampires.
Yeah, I mean, to each other, yeah.
But even outside people, I mean, yeah, they were like vampires because they had to kill people and you would play with your food because you'd get bored, but they weren't like
Impolite.
super bad
They had manners.
vampires, you know?
Yeah. No, I get it.
And
Yeah.
even like the bar scene, there's like just enough people for them to feed on. They're not like overly gratuitous, like going to a theme park and shutting it down or something.
Well, they got to stay under the radar.
Well,
Which
I'm
is-
just saying that I feel like they're of sound mind for vampires.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I agree with that. But yeah,
And I don't know why they had to die at the end. I thought that was really dumb because it was actually unnecessary for them to die at the end. The couple in the car, like, totally unnecessary. And those blankets, the way they were wearing them, if my skin was burning off, I would probably adjust where they
Yeah.
were covering me. But
Well,
maybe that's just
well, they were at that point,
Maybe.
they were like, it's over. Our family's
yeah,
dead.
yeah, going
It's
off
broken
into the
up.
sunlight. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
That's,
Right.
but
Instead
I mean,
of being like, fuck yeah, we got rid of all the kids that were super annoying.
well,
Like, let's
everyone
go do
isn't
something
like
else.
us. That would be like, thank God.
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck yes, let's go. Let's go to the fucking beach.
Yeah. And-
And hang out at night
Yeah.
on the beach. But anyways, I give it a 2.25.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think it's,
And I might watch it again, but probably not.
I mean, that's like a solid score. It's like a good score.
For
I
you,
thi-
it is, yes. Yeah.
yeah. I
I
think
people
that's,
should watch it. I
yeah.
think it's fun.
like I said,
And
I mean,
it's cool to see the actors that are in it play those roles.
totally. Like I said, it has a little bit of something for everybody. It's not like something you're gonna be like, dude, that movie is like, I mean, I guess some people would be like, it's my favorite movie, but I wouldn't go as far to say it's like perfect or like a masterpiece, but it's a fun movie with some gore about vampires and, something you might not
Yep.
see all the time. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, that's a solid 2.6. Cute, westerny, zombie, vampire candy corns. I think everyone should
Yeah.
go see it. Yeah, check it out. You heard it here first. Or 1
Probably
million.
not. You
Yeah, probably not.
heard it. Yeah.
Probably heard it
But
before.
maybe. I hadn't really heard of it.
Yeah, it's a movie it's out there, but it's not because it didn't get like I only remember it from the video store. Like I
I
don't
remember the VHS cover for sure. Like when
Yeah.
I looked it up, I was like, oh, I've seen this cover a million times when I used
Yeah.
to walk through the video store.
I don't ever remember a trailer for it or anything, or like seeing it on the marquee anywhere at a theater. I only remember the video store, so it flew under the radar.
Yeah.
But it's a fun one, so we think you should check it out. You may love it, you may hate it, or you may be like, meh. But almost for sure, everyone will agree that Homer is creepy.
Very creepy.
Yeah. So, yeah, go check it out and let us know what you think of it. And we would like to thank you guys for hanging out with us again for this episode of Monster Candy Podcast. See you next time, you little homers.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Want some candy?
looks that big old storm right square in the eye and he says, "Get away from her, you bitch!"
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Your move, creep.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.